I'm Dad, and this is Good Questions for Dad. New Year's Eve spectacular. Audrey,
Yes.
2020 is almost out the door.
But I don't think 2021 is gonna be any better.
Really?
Because-
there's our pessimist of the.
Because it's
Family.
just another year. And I'm almost positive that coronavirus won't have a complete cure in 6 days. And I'm sure that we won't have to stop wearing our masks in 6 days. And I'm sure that a lot of other stuff won't be
A bunch of other bad stuff will happen too. Okay.
It's gonna be a whole decade of terrible stuff.
Well, Happy New Year to you too, Audrey. Jeez. Well, okay. Well, Audrey, either way, 2021 is coming.
I ruined.
Goodness. Happy New Year. That's how you are, Audrey. Jeez.
If 2020 was a whatever these are called.
Noisemakers. Well, Audrey. Okay, well, either way, 2021 is coming. And 2020 did happen.
It did.
It happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I thought today we would do is to wrap up 2020, have our New Year's Eve spectacular, okay? And what I did was, over the holidays here, I've kind of reminisced on 2020 and wanted to kind of have say a goodbye to 2020. And what we were going to do is I just wanted to kind of go through
Goodbye 2020.
Yeah.
The video ends.
My objective for this show was to go through each month and pick at least one good thing that happened in 2020. That was hard to do. So it's not maybe not the best of 2020 list, but it is a list of 2020. It is the list of events that happened in 2020.
Cool
Things that happened. I think I tried to keep it as happy and positive as possible. So let's get our 2020 year in review show going, Audrey, okay? And we're going to start at the beginning and we're going to work our way through the year. We're going to first month of the year.
January.
Thank you, Audrey. January. And again, please bear with me because it was very hard to find anything really awesome to say about 2020. But I found a few things. And the number one thing back in January of 2020, Billie Eilish.
Mm-hmm.
You know her?
Mm-hmm.
Name drop? Mm-hmm. Well, that woman, she's 18-year-old woman, back in January, won 5 Grammy Awards.
18.
Including Best New Artist, Record of the Year, Album of the Year, which I don't know what the difference is, but they're 2 different categories, and Song of the Year. 4 major categories. She was not only the second person ever, but the first female to ever win all 4 of those awards. So, Billie Eilish, 2020. You know what else happened in January
What?
of 2020? Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston got back together.
I guess.
Ever heard of those people? Brad Pitt? No, that's okay. He was in a couple really good movies back in the day. Top Gun, A Few Good Men, Top Gun. And Jennifer Aniston, you know, from Friends, and she's been
Murder Mystery
and drama, right?
Yeah.
She with her love affairs. So Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt, congratulations, back in January 2020. I don't know if they're still back together.
No.
February of 2020. Audrey, do you remember this?
No.
I'm taking you back. I'm taking
my
you down
nails
this
chipped.
road here.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
2020 of February of 2020. Anybody remember a little show called the Super Bowl halftime show with Shakira and J-Lo? All the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. Right? Isn't that her song?
I don't
I
remember.
think that's her song. I don't think they sang it on the Super Bowl halftime show, but they may have. I don't remember. I know that Shakira and J-Lo wowed us during that Super Bowl halftime show.
Everybody was like, oh, that did it.
2020. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. A side note on our own personal, back in February, we got a new hamster. There you go. That's probably, get that highlight out of the way right there. We brought in a new hamster, and I've had many hamsters in my life.
The hamster and the turtle. Go check that out. That was a good one.
That was another. That's a pretty good show. The hamster and the turtle and the hamster are one of our previous episodes. But yes, we brought in maybe the best hamster I've ever had under my roof.
Never food.
She
bites to tell if it's food at first, and she doesn't bite
and
anymore.
she doesn't run away. And
Lovable.
she's just really calm. So that was definitely a highlight. Okay, moving on to March of this previous year. A couple things happened. Okay, March was when basically the pandemic started. Okay, so everybody rushed to Netflix and watched one of the best documentaries ever, Tiger King. Tiger King. I tried to show it to you. You thought it was boring, but those in the know-how know about Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin.
I wasn't paying attention.
No, but you got to check it out because it is just full of twists and turns and really great hair and
I'm sorry.
that kind of stuff. So Tiger King, #1 on Netflix. That was the highlight. The other highlight in March, which was fun for all of us, was that toilet paper shortage. Remember that? 2020, March 2020. Nobody has toilet paper. We got a virus that does not cause diarrhea or any sort of really intestinal damage whatsoever, but people ran out and bought toilet paper. It got so bad that in this house, I was rationing toilet paper. Remember that? You each got 30 pieces of the ply. Remember that?
That was
You
funny.
guys had to keep it in your room, and I said for 24 hours, this is what you get until we get more toilet paper. And then, well, people realized that we didn't need a ton of toilet paper. So
Yeah, I didn't really
that ended real quick. But that was back in March. April comes. April comes, and guess what, Audrey? I was trying to think. This might be the first time ever in my entire life that I have ever worn a surgical mask. Masks came in April. Remember, okay? I don't think in my entire life I've ever, until now, worn a mask. Even when I had surgeries, I don't remember ever having to wear a mask. Like one of those, you know, when you go into the hospital or whatever, you see doctors wearing them.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. I don't. So the first time in my life, first time in your life, I'm 99% sure, for both of us, we wore masks. And we wore them going to the grocery store or the gas station or eventually to school, which we'll get to later. But so mask wearing, got to do that for the first time in 2020. Another thing that happened in April, which I still am yet to do, is TikTok. TikTok, all of a sudden in April, skyrocketed out of nowhere. You got up by April, 2 billion downloads for TikTok. You know, the dancing.
Harmony. Hold up. Harmony, ready? I go.
Happy 2021, or bye 2020. So masks and TikTok in April. TikTok's still going and masks are still going. Huh. Imagine that. Let's move on to May. Okay, May comes along. Audrey, now this is a serious thing. The launch of Dragon SpaceX.
Yeah, we watched that.
Remember watching that on TV or whatever? The launch
You were trying to explain it.
I was trying to explain it to you.
I was there like...
And there's this build-up, and actually it's like less than a minute's worth of watching on television when they... And then they're gone, and I had to say, well, they'll be, when they get to their docking position, it'll be like 3 days. By the time they get the orbit going. But that was the first time the U.S. had sent any person into space since 2011. It's only like the second time that in your lifetime, that somebody from the United States actually ended up back up into orbit and into space. So
During COVID.
During COVID,
They're like,
that all
I've
happened.
had enough. I'm getting away from
Those
this
suits,
place.
those suits were the best dressed. Those white suits looked all futuristic. Very, very 2020. So after the launch,
Glad aliens aren't here. So.
After the launch, we move on to June, and June was relatively quiet for
We were
most
all
of
sitting
us,
there like,
wondering what the
gonna
heck's going
happen?
on. Yeah,
What's
now
gonna happen
we
next?
settled into the pandemic part of all of this, and people started moving around a little bit. And you know what happened in June here in this house? Forget about just getting a hamster for 2020. We brought
got a
in
cat.
a new cat.
Not even a cat, a 2-month-old, 2 pounds kitten named Frida.
And she is now probably tripled in size. She's doing the best. Here in our entire family, she sleeps all day.
And is up all night,
and then up all
attacking our
night.
feet, biting our flesh. She's like
Biting the flesh.
she's our own 2020.
She's a 2020 cat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Born
So we got
birth.
a new cat in June. In July, the Broadway hit Hamilton.
Woo!
Oh, good. 90% of the people in this country did not know who Alexander Hamilton was until they decided to sing about him.
That's not the actual thing.
Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton.
That's not the
I-
actual song. I just
Anyways,
said it.
it wasn't released on Broadway. See, okay, so
It was
it's been on Broadway for a while, but back in July was the first time it was streamed
On
on
Disney
on
Plus.
Disney Plus,
It
not a
was amazing.
sponsor. But so for pretty much the entire month of July, which coincides with July 4th, I had to listen to Hamilton and watch Hamilton or whatever. You know, like you were heavily into Alexander Hamilton.
I have a shirt
Alexander
that I got for
Hamilton.
Christmas that says, "My thoughts are replaced by Hamilton." My thoughts are replaced by Hamilton lyrics.
Your thoughts are replaced by Hamilton lyrics. Your thoughts are replaced. And King George and all that stuff. A great history lesson in some weird way, which you probably couldn't tell me. Was Alexander Hamilton, was he a Federalist or an Anti-Federalist? Do you remember, Audrey? Do you
A
even know
what?
what a
Wait, what?
Federalist or an Anti-Federalist?
The Federalists.
All I know, he shot somebody.
Yeah,
He
they
shot
did
somebody.
that. They did like,
Who'd he shoot?
what's his name?
Aaron Burr?
Sir.
Sir Aaron Burr.
Sir.
So that was, again, one of the best things that happened in 2020. Was that Alexander
I wanna watch
Hamilton
it
was
now.
released on Disney Plus. Yeah, everybody could see it now. They didn't have to go to Broadway shows, which you're not even allowed to do right now. Alexander Hamilton. Moving on to August. Okay, August. We were talking about viruses. Okay, polio was eradicated from the continent of Africa for the first time ever. There's no polio in Africa. It's the second virus since smallpox was eradicated there in Africa. Polio here, I believe it's eradicated in the United States. but it's a virus that causes your muscles to go really weak, and people can die from it. And it was a really bad disease that people would get, and it was debilitating and very bad. And they've worked on these vaccines, and now as of August of 2020, there is no polio in Africa.
Wait.
No polio! No polio! Get rid of that polio. I want to walk. Anyways, and I want to walk. And so,
you can.
after polio was eradicated in Africa, we moved on to September. September it appears to be the bad month of 2020.
The worst.
The worst month. All we had during September of 2020 was more COVID, and more COVID, more protests in the street, which I'm not saying that there's a reason that there's protests going on. The problem is that we are just like, all of a sudden things got even more heated, so the protests got more heated up. There were wildfires all the way over in California, where we live in New York, and we're getting the smoke from those wildfires. This is all happening in September. And the icing on the cake for September 2020, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, only the second woman to ever be on the Supreme Court, like one of the big judges of our country. She passed away. She died. And she was a real strong supporter for like equal rights for women and females and stuff, and her being the second woman ever on the court. She passed away. And so September, that was just like the icing on the cake. We lost one of our great feminist leaders. We had wildfires all over the place. We had people fighting each other in the streets, and beyond that, we had another virus, not polio, raging through our country. Thank you, September 2020. Thank you for coming and leaving. Moving on to something even better. In October, after all that happened, guess what? Back to school! You girls, you were delayed by a month, but back in October, it was the first time since March. So you guys have gone 7 months without being in school. You actually got on a bus and went to school. I think we did an episode on that too, where most of it was. I mean, you still do a lot of your stuff here at home, online, Zooming it, but in October, a couple months ago, you got on a bus and you went into that school, obviously wearing a mask and everything, but that was a good thing. That was definitely a good thing. Now we'll get into the good stuff, because you can tell 2020 is ending. So the good things are really starting to happen now, okay? November. Now, you ever watch the show Grey's Anatomy?
Emily does.
Emily does, name drop. Okay, spoiler alert. In November of 2020, Dr. Derek Shepherd, a.k.a. Mick Dreamy, returned to Grey's Anatomy. Hot stuff. I mean, if there's one thing I can say is that as time goes on through this year, it just seemed to get, other than September, we had that hiccup there where there was more COVID and more wildfires and more protests, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. But in November, when McDreamy came back to Grey's Anatomy, Twitter was a flitter. McDreamy! Welcome back, Dr. Derek Shepherd. Now, the last thing to happen here in 2020,
It goes.
the main thing was in December, okay, last month here,
What about
happened?
Biden winning?
Biden won. Hey, that's a big thing. Yeah.
I don't even remember which.
That was November.
November.
Into December. It takes a while to count these votes,
Yep.
and
Biden won.
but Biden definitely is the president-elect, so that would definitely be a highlight. Not nearly as exciting as McDreamy coming back to Grey's Anatomy, but it's up there, Odd, for moments of the year. I got one last thing for you, Audrey. In December of this year, okay? You ever heard of a little singer called Harry Styles? From One Direction? Guess what? He was the first ever solo male artist to make it onto Vogue magazine.
Wow.
And you know what? I think he wore a wedding dress on the cover. Vogue, I'm not sure if you know, but Vogue magazine is like a woman's magazine or whatever. You know, it's got it's got articles, and I think I've never actually read it, so I shouldn't say anything. I'm assuming that there are articles in Vogue magazine along with like healthcare stuff. Yeah. Vogue magazine, baby, 2020. But Harry Styles was the first ever. Vogue's been around for a while. He was the first ever male artist so in a roundabout way, the first female artist to ever win so many Grammy Awards, Billie Eilish. She started the year off.
Yeah.
And then the first male-only solo artist was the first one to ever grace the cover of Vogue magazine. And he decided to wear, I think, a white wedding dress. I don't know. You can either go buy the magazine or you can look it up online. That's your choice. So Audrey, that's what I've got. Those are my highlights for 2020. Not a good year, but there were some things there. And here's the 2021, okay? No matter what Audrey thinks is going to happen in 2021, I'm a little bit more optimistic.
The aliens were delayed.
The aliens were delayed. They'll be here in 2021, and then you'll look back at 2020 and
be like,
fondly.
That would be like, I wish I was.
Oh, that was such a wonderful year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Happy New Year, guys. Thanks for liking. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Happy New Year.